Hey, before we go into what we have for today, we have reason to celebrate. You may not know this, but among us, we have a hero. We have a star among us. We have someone among us to be celebrated today. Sorry, Nino, and don't invade my space. I want to show you just a short video and then a picture of a hero. Today, we're going to celebrate today someone that just a superstar, and it's a part of our community city church. Let's watch this quick video, and then we're going to see a great picture. Here we go. Watch this. Come on. There's a swimming competition going on yesterday, right there in the middle. That's one of our heroes. It's right now. He's the hero of the house, going full length. We're going to cheer for this guy in just a minute. We're going to introduce you to this champion right here. Watch this. Here he comes. He's going to finish the race well. He's going to finish the race. It's a great picture of the series we're talking on. He finishes the race. There it is. Where's our still shot? There's our champion. There's our champion. Alan, will you stand up? Stand up, my brother. We are so proud of you. Alan participated in the Special Olympics yesterday and did amazing. And this guy, he plays sports. He does volleyball. He's highly active. And yesterday was in his swimming competition. And bro, we are so proud of you and glad that you're a part of City Church right there. Amen. Amen. That's so cool. Mo, will you turn those lights on for me? So if you get a chance, be sure to congratulate Alan and his victory and his success yesterday. And his mom did not know I was going to do that. She did not know. In fact, I have a confession to make. She was so proud of her son. She showed me, yes, she gave me her phone. Don't ever do that. She gave me her phone and said, hey, look at this. And so as I'm looking at it, I sent myself that video and sent myself that picture. And then I gave her phone back. And I should have taken a selfie. But so I didn't want to give Vera a chance to say, don't. So, love on Alan. Alan, you're my hero, buddy. I'm so proud of you and so glad you're a part of City Church. I want you to know that. Yeah. Couple quick announcements coming up. City groups have started. They started last week. That's our small groups inside of our larger groups, and just really encourage you to participate in our city groups. There's information out in front on these papers. There's 5 different city groups have started, and their times and their dates and locations. And so please get one of these and participate in one of these very important city groups. And if you don't like paper, like me, I don't like paper, go to our website. All the information is on our website, and we'll point you in the right direction of getting involved in those. Our city groups are so cool because you can join them anytime. They're not topic-based, they're sermon-based. So next week's city groups will be based on today's sermon and questions from this week. And so you can join in anytime, and you don't miss anything, and you're immediately caught up. And we have the nicest people in the valley right here at City Church. That was your chance right there. That was your chance right there. So please get involved. Starting this Wednesday, I'm going to do a marriage and parenting seminar for 4 weeks on Wednesday nights. And I want to encourage you, if you're a mature junior high age or above, to be here and participate in this. I normally when I do a marriage seminar or a parenting seminar, those are both about 6-week seminars. And so we're going to take those two and pile them into one 4-week seminar. So there's a ton of information. So we will go a full 2 hours on Wednesday nights from 7 to 9. They're not so much just for information, but there'll be a Q&A times each week as well, and want to be open for that. We will have paid childcare on those 4 Wednesday nights, so you can bring your children. We don't have a slide for this. Water baptism. October 1st, we're going to have a water baptism service here. It'll be our second service, our 10:30 service. So if you've never been baptized in water, or it's been a long, long time since you've been baptized in water, and you feel like you want to take that step again, that public confession of just saying that you love Jesus, we encourage you to show up October 1st. We'll do our job. We'll get you wet. We'll hold you under till you're dead, bring you back up. And it'll be amazing. So those 3 things. And then also, just remind you, if you're not aware, our high school youth group meets Tuesday nights. Junior high meets Sunday morning during our 9 o'clock. High school meets Tuesday nights at Eric and Michelle Schweigs. Which one is it? The second one, Schweig. Eric and Michelle Schweig's house. You guys have known me long enough. I've been around for like almost 3 years. I do not get names right, okay? Can we just confess that and live with it? Okay, can we do that? Okay. Some of you tease me. You'll ask me, what's my child's name? Little guy. So, high school, Tuesday night, 7 o'clock at Schweig's house. Hey, every Monday, I put a verse on our Facebook page for you to memorize and hide his word in your heart. And so anyone happened to memorize last week's verse, Hebrews 11:6? Giving you a hint there. Anybody memorize it? Oh, let's hear it. Let's hear it. Yes. Yes. Can you get me a bag for her, please? Absolutely. My favorite part of that verse is he's not ashamed for me to call him my God. He is not ashamed of me. That's a huge promise. That's good stuff. So we are going to be sending her home with a 4-pack of MicroBrew root beer. Microbeer. Yes. So this was my reminder each week, root beer jelly beans, to have people say the verse. So at the end of the series, if anyone would like some root beer jelly beans, we got those going on up here. So here comes a grand prize. Thank you, Andrea. Andrea bringing in our 4-pack of, there it is. Atta girl. Yes. And Andrea does so amazing around here. Andrea is disobeying the Lord and taking a vacation next week. So if all of you pray for her repentance and my recovery, that would be good. I'm not happy with her or her husband. So, hey, we're on a great journey of MicroBrews, just taking a look at Hebrews, and not so much sequentially, but we're taking some pieces and looking at it and breaking it up and seeing how it applies to our lives. And today, if you'll turn with me to Hebrews 12, and that's kind of been our theme, our foundational verse, although we've hopped around, we've circled the wagons around Hebrews 12. Hebrews 12:1 is really what we're building on. And I want to spend a little bit of time on Hebrews 12:1 today and hope to get to the rest of what I feel like the Lord wants us to land on. But I want us to pick apart Hebrews 12:1, and each week I have taken a little bit more of it and walked through it. And so I'll do a little bit of review, and then we're going to look at 12:1 through 1 and 2, and then we'll move on. But let me give you a little backdrop on the book of Hebrews. We truly don't know who wrote Hebrews. Scholars don't know. Scholars lean towards the Apostle Paul writing it. Its writing style is close to his style, but we really don't know. It's really not identified in this letter. It's an interesting letter because it's not written to a city or to a church, like Ephesians is written to Ephesus, and Corinthians is written to Corinth, and Thessalonians is written to Thessalonica, and all of those letters are written to a specific church or to a city or to a church in a city. But Hebrews is not written to a city. It's not written to a church. It's written to a group of people. It's written to the Hebrews, the Jewish people of the day. It's written to a generation and a group of people. And in the writing of this particular season, when Hebrews is written, what's happening right now is the Jewish people are under great persecution. Great persecution and martyrdom, children being taken from them and sacrificed, and children being taken from them and burnt in front of them so that they might deny the name of Jesus. And families are being broken up, and the Hebrew people are scattering around the known world and living in fear, and quite honestly want to quit, want to give up, want to walk away. And the Hebrew writer writes this book to try to encourage and strengthen and empower and remind the Hebrew people, the Jewish people, what is really going on and what they really need to focus on. And Hebrews 12:1, he starts out with the word therefore, and remember that's therefore because of Hebrews 11. So the Hebrew writer takes some time in Hebrews 11 to show us some examples that would be valuable to us. In Hebrews 11, he talks about Abel. Remember, Abel was killed by his brother Cain, yet Abel is recognized as a father of the faith, because Abel simply obeyed and did what God asked him to do. And Abel, by faith, Abel was able to complete what he was to complete on earth. The Hebrew writer takes us and has us take a look at Noah. The the Hebrew writer has us take a look at Noah. And I believe that if Noah had something to say to us, the Hebrew writer was trying to imply, he says that Noah had to build a boat. Remember, God told Noah, build a boat. And Noah was like, I don't know what a boat is. God said, that's totally cool. Build one anyway, because it's going to rain. And Noah's like, I don't know what rain is. What are you talking about, rain? I don't know what a boat is. I don't know what rain is. And God said, good for you. Build a boat. It's going to rain. And the writer says, and because Noah was willing to do and be mocked for what he was doing, he stepped out, and he is a father of faith. Abraham is a father of faith. Abraham is described in chapter 11 as he's 100 years old. God says, hey, I want you to go to a country. By the way, I'm not going to tell you what country. Just pack the bags and head out. Oh, and guess what? I know like you're 100 years old, but bro, you're going to have children. And Abraham was like, I'm a what? Yeah, right, God, that's good. Like, I got the whole pack the tent thing, and I got the whole get on the camel and ride thing, but this, I'm 100 years old, going to have a child? Like, I don't got that thing. In fact, there's one point where Abraham, it says that Abraham says to God, they're having a conversation. He says, God, look, I'm in a tent. I'm in a tent in the wilderness. I don't know where I'm going. I'm 100 years old. Would you look? And God comes down and he says, would I look? Look, you little looker. I was looking before you even thought about looking. Get out of that tent. Come out here and look. Look at those stars. You're going to have more kids than those stars, you little looker. Look over here. See that sand? I mean, you're going to have more kids than there is sand on the sea. Don't tell me to look. You look, you little looker. Tell me to look. And yet in his doubt, he's considered one of the strength heroes of the faith. Sarah, the Hebrew writer picks out Sarah and says, Sarah, it's interesting that we read about Sarah, because when Sarah is told by her husband Abraham, can you imagine having that conversation? Can you imagine going home at 99 years old and telling your wife, honey, look, I know you're 98, but guess what? You're going to have a baby. And I'm the dad. And the Bible says that Sarah laughed. She mocked. She was like, whoa, yeah, right. Yeah, sure. You've been in the sun too long, Abe. We read that she laughed and mocked, but yet in Hebrews we read she rejoiced and celebrated the faithfulness of the Lord. What changed in that? What changed from laughing and mocking to celebrating the faithfulness of the Lord? By faith. By faith. By faith. By faith. And so the Hebrew writer in chapter 11 gives us these heroes of the faith, and he jumped into chapter 12 and he says, therefore, since we're surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. Now, we can read that and we miss so much of what's really being said in there. We're surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. College football has started. I love college football. I love to watch college ball. I love it way better than pro ball, NFL. College ball is the best ball on the planet. And as in the couple of games I got to watch little pieces of yesterday, it's interesting to me that these young men, 18, 19, 20 years old, are out there on the field and they're playing their best, and the stadium is packed with people, just packed, and they're screaming and they're all yelling, and there's people in that stadium that at the end of the game, they're leaving the game going, yeah, it was a great game. I yelled all I could. I gave it all I had. And these young men down on the gridiron, surrounded by these thousands of fans. The truth of the matter is, that fan that lost his voice, most likely those players down on the field, those 11 young men, all they could hear was the roar. They couldn't hear the individual encouragement. And I think we walk through and we read this, therefore, since we're surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses, just listen to the roar. And the Hebrew writer says, no, don't do that. Let's take one or two out and let's listen to what they might say to us. If we could pull one of the heroes of the faith out of the grandstands and walk a lap of life with us, just one lap of life, what would they have to say to us? What would they encourage us to do? I believe that if we could pull Noah out of the grandstands and have him walk a lap of life with us, I believe Noah would say, listen to me, I want you to learn some lessons. First off, one person does make a difference. I want you to learn some lessons. Age doesn't matter. And if you think it does, ask the little boy with the lunch that fed 5,000. And I think that Noah would say, as he started to go back up the stairs into the grandstands, I think he might turn around and go, oh, and by the way, the appearance of the promise doesn't show up until after you obey. And he could say, oh, one last thing. I hope you don't think it was easy. It's interesting when we read about the ark being built and Noah and his family got on. Its statement says, and God shut the door. God shut the door. And Noah would say, listen to me. Here's faith. I can build a boat. I can get on the boat. It can rain. But when you have a mom banging on the door of the boat saying, please at least let my son in. Please don't let us drown out here. Please don't leave us out here. Please, why are you doing this? People banging on the boat knowing that they're about to drown. When you know that that's what's happening, and you have to trust that God shut the door. By faith. By faith. I believe that if we could call Esther hero of the faith out of the grandstands and have her walk a lap of life with us, that Esther, we could say, Esther, what would you have for us? Esther, you made a statement that says you were born for such a time as this. What's that really mean? And I believe that Esther could say, well, listen to me. Until you're willing to lay yourself down for the kingdom, I don't know that you're a part of the kingdom. I think that Esther would celebrate with us the truth that happened in the book of Esther. I think that Esther would celebrate with us that the guy that hated her, Haman, wanted her dead and all the Jewish people dead. And he made a plan to build a gallows 75 feet tall to hang Esther's uncle named Mordecai. And yet the king of the land was reading what was happening in his land and realized that Mordecai had saved his life 3 or 4 years earlier. And the king said, we need to honor Mordecai. And in honoring Mordecai, he realizes that Haman was trying to kill all the Jewish people and wipe out the Jewish people behind the king's back. While Haman is building a gallows, the king is planning a party. And I think Esther would say to us, let me promise you something. That when the enemy is plotting your destruction, the king is planning your future. She would go back into the stands. I think it's important that we take time to draw those heroes out of the stands and have them walk a lap of life with us, because the writer says, listen, therefore, we're surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses saying we need to know what they have to say to us, so let us also. In other words, we're involved, we have responsibility. Don't drop the baton here. Let us also cast off. Let us cast off lay aside every weight and every sin that stands so closely, and let us run with endurance. It's all us and we. Let us run with endurance. The race that's before us. And then I love this, looking to Jesus. It's so important that he says that because we are such doers. He says, listen, let us also throw aside every weight. I can do that. And he says, let us also get rid of the sin that's closely. I can do that. Let us run. I can do that. Let us have endurance. I can do that. And he says, but listen, you can't do that. You will fail at that unless you look to Jesus. Unless you look to Jesus, who is the founder, the perfecter, the author, again, the collective word of our faith, who for the joy set before him, for the joy set before him endured the cross. We read that, we talk about that, but do we really stop and go, what does that mean to me? How do I put that on? How do I wear that? How do I walk around and be what Jesus was? How do I act like Jesus? How do I do that? How does that even work? And that's where we have to realize, what does that mean for the joy set before him? Let me tell you the joy that was set before him. It brought Jesus joy to forgive your rebellion. To forgive your offense. And we're supposed to be like Jesus. What if, just what if, what if the next time someone hurts you, offends you, lies about you, betrays you, tries to break you down, steals from you, what if you went to them and went, bro, yes, you totally gave me joy today because I get to forgive you. Do it again. He had joy in forgiving our rebellion. He was like, yeah, I get to do this. And we're supposed to be like Jesus. Oh, you offended me? That is so cool. I totally forgive you, bro. Do it again, will you? For the joy set before him. How about this? What was the joy set before him? He takes joy in you and I benefiting from his loss. Like, I'm going to give up my kingdom. I'm going to give up my glory. I'm going to get beaten. I'm going to be spit on. I'm going to have my beard pulled. 18 hours of the story before my death is going to be gut-wrenching. They're going to whip me. They're going to put nails in me. They're going to throw me on the cross. They're going to ridicule me. They're going to falsely accuse me. It's going to be an absolute mistrial that's going to happen. I'm going to be killed. And because of that, y'all are going to benefit. I cannot wait. For the joy set before him. For the joy set before him. What was the joy that set before him? How about this was the joy that set before him? It gave him joy knowing that because of his grace, you are not going to be defined by what you've done, but by who he is. He's like, I can't wait for that. You don't have to be defined by your failures. You can be defined by what I've done. It is finished. Woo-hoo-hoo! This is joy. And we're supposed to be like that. We're supposed to be like that. When was the last time we rejoiced because someone took advantage of us? Dude, you totally ripped me off, and I'm so stoked about that. I got more stuff. Come get it. The joy set before him. What was the joy set before him and we're supposed to be like? The joy set before him where he said, you know what? I'm going to bless you with resources, and you're going to waste them and be poor stewards, and I'm going to give you more. I can't wait to bless you. Even if you make poor choices, I'm still first in line to bless you. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, despising the shame, and sat down at the right hand of the Father. That is a position of victory and authority. And he says, you can't get there if you don't know the specifics that the crowd of witnesses are cheering for you, and you can't get there on your own. You need a collective group of people to help you get there. You can't get there as a silo. You need to be a part of a family that will help you and encourage you and build you up. And by the way, even that family can't get you there if you are not looking to Jesus, the author, the perfecter, the founder of our faith. That's such a cool promise. And then he takes off in verse 3. The writer says, consider him who endured from sinners. Watch this. Come on, this is promise. This is like get up and wave a hanky, promise. Does anybody have a hanky? Anybody carry hankies anymore? No, okay, so it's not going to happen. I thought I had a vision. Can I tell you the last story about a lady waving a hanky? Here's a rabbit trail right now, all right? I'm in a hole. I've dug it. I might as well fall in. Look at that. You're my hero. You're my favorite. We were at a church, on staff at a church, and there was this gal named Pearl, and she was 83 years old. And Pearl wore stilettos every Sunday. 83 in stilettos. And every Sunday, as soon as worship would start, Pearl would pull out her hanky, white every week. She would wave it. She would dance around the aisle. Pearl, just going. Only one in the building. Pearl, waving her hanky, stilettos, 83 years old. I'm like, that woman's going to need healing. We sit down with Pearl and go, Pearl, what's the story? Like, you're amazing. Like, worship starts, you pull out the hanky, you start waving it, you dance. Like, what's the story, Pearl? Pearl said, well, Pastor, here's the deal. When I got saved and I met Jesus, I was a table dancer. And I quit dancing when I met Jesus. I quit. I gave it up. But one day Jesus said to me, you danced for the world, why won't you dance for me? Like, yeah! I'm with Pearl. Talking about, woo! I won't be in stilettos, but that would be weird. Donnie, consider him, watch this, who endured from sinners such hostility so that you won't go weary. He endured hostility from sinners so you won't grow weary. That is the joy set before him. Wow. Watch this. I'm going to read a chunk. I'm going to read about 7 verses, and stay with me. In your struggle against sin, you recognize the struggle, you have not resisted to the point of shedding your blood. And have you forgotten the exhortation that addresses you as sons? My son, do not regard lightly the discipline of the Lord, nor be weary when reproved by him. For the Lord disciplines the one he loves and chastises every son whom he receives. It is for discipline that you have to endure. God is treating you as sons. For what son is there whom his father does not discipline? If you're left without discipline in which all have participated, then you are illegitimate children and not sons. Besides this, we have had earthly fathers who disciplined us. We respected them. Shall we not much more be subject to the Father of spirits and live? For they disciplined us for a short time, as it seemed best to them, but he disciplines us for our good, that we may share in his holiness. For the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields a peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. I don't know if you caught this or not, but in those 7 verses, the word discipline is used 11 times. I think if discipline is used 11 times in 7 verses, we probably need to pay attention to it. But this is written to a group of people that are saying, listen, don't quit, don't slow down, don't stay the same, don't begin to cave, don't fall to temptation. No, learn. This is the discipline. This is the discipline. This discipline is good for you. This discipline builds you up. Don't quit. Don't quit. You ever had one of those days? You ever had just one of those days? Just one of those days. I recently had one of those days. We have 2 puppies. And the puppy's mom, Mookie. And we're taking care of our daughter's cat. And our daughter's dog, a bulldog. And the bulldog is about this big around all the way. All the way. And I haven't spent a lot of time with bulldogs, but I've learned in the last week that bulldogs don't breathe well. It's like, dude, clear your throat. So I get up one morning, I go downstairs, and the pen that the puppies are in, poop everywhere. Everywhere. Take the puppies, put them outside, clean up the poop. I get the poop cleaned up. I go over the little round vomit. Vomit, and I'm like, listen, the Bible says dogs return to their vomit. You're cleaning that up. Eat that. He's not interested in eating his vomit. So I bring the puppies in, put them in the pen that I already got cleaned up, take the little, put him outside, clean up the vomit, get the vomit cleaned up. As I get the vomit cleaned up, the other dog, mama dog, she gets pumped up in her kennel, jumps, knocks over dishes of food. I got dog food all over the floor. And all 3 dogs use a different kind of food. So I'm like, you're kidding me. So I'm cleaning up food. I clean up food. I get the food all cleaned up. I let in and put the other dog out. I go in and I got more puppy poop. Like a lot of it. So I think, I'm going running. I'm going to go for a run. So I tell Tracy, I'm going for a run. So I go out for a run. And I get over to Litchfield, and I'm running down Litchfield. Yeah. And I'm headed towards Walgreens down Litchfield. And this guy goes by on a bike, and he clips me on his bike, and he drops the F-bomb on his way by. And so I yell, you got something to say to me? Oh, no, it gets much worse. He looks over his shoulder and says something. I don't know what, but he keeps riding his bike. And I see him going to the Walgreens parking lot. So I jog up to the Walgreens parking lot and I look, there's his bike. So I go by the bike rack and hang out. And he comes out, and I said, you got something to say to me? And he goes, I'm trying to get around you on the sidewalk, and I can't get past you on the sidewalk, and you need to stay out of my way. I said, bro, there's a reason it's called a sidewalk and a bike path. You ride in the bike path, I'll be on the sidewalk. And he goes, well, maybe if you turn your music down, you'd hear people coming. That was where I went, you want to try to turn it down? He got on his bike and rode off. Which, by the way, Tracy told me, you can't tell anyone that story. Tell anyone. And listen, don't send me emails about anger management, because I'll just call you up. I'll call you up and say, you got something to say to me? That's what I'm going to do. I'll call you up. He got on his bike and rode away. But you ever have one of those days? You can't take one more pile of puppy poop. Like, I'm done cleaning vomit. Bicycles, I hate bicycles. You ever have one of those days where just one more? Or maybe a season? Like, is this ever going to end? Is this ever going to end? Is this ever going to end as we find ourselves saying, God, where are you? Like, I am so ready to quit. I want to walk out right now. And the truth of the matter is, if you've never felt like quitting on your walk with God, you are a Yoda person. And we try to use God's words against him. We try to use his word against him. All right, God, you know full well Romans 8:28. God, you know Romans 8:28 says, for God works all things together for those that love. I got it tattooed. Read that, God. We're like, work it, God, work it. We try to hold his word against him. And he's like, you have no clue. Did you not? Here, read that word again. Here's what it says in there. Work. Work. Because I love you, there's work. And because I love you, there's work together. Don't do this alone. Don't try to make it on your own. Be a part of a family. Be involved with the community. Get into a city group. Don't you dare do this alone. Work together and fix your eyes on Jesus. And then you will see all things work for you. We ask the question, when will it end? Don't ask me. I'm working on my stuff. Obviously. Here's the deal with God's discipline. Listen to me close. Discipline from God is not punishment. Okay? Discipline from God is not punishment. The Bible says the perfect love casts out all fear. And Jesus is perfect love. So if he is perfect love, I have no reason to fear punishment. Secondly, the Bible says that he took my punishment. It's already been done. The punishment has been handled. He can't punish me again for something he's already taken the punishment for. Whenever there's discipline from our God, it is for redemptive value, always. It is for redemptive value, always. Punishment has a characteristic of looking back. Punishment is, I'm looking at what I did. Discipline says, I'm looking at what I can become. Okay? And he says in those 7 verses 11 times, I discipline you because I love you. I discipline you because you're my sons. I discipline you because I want you to succeed. I discipline you. And nowhere in there do we hear this. And this is what we try to do. Man, we try to say that, accuse God of disciplining us with some kind of a disease. Or accuse God of disciplining us with some kind of a broken bone. Listen, let me tell you something. If my son Parker, who, not to embarrass him, but got a speeding ticket last night. Oh! If my son Parker came home with a speeding ticket, twice, and I broke his arm, y'all would need to report me. That's a bad father. Hello? Like that was an easy one. No, that would be fair. You could break his arm. Yeah, that's what we do. I'm a little worried. You would want to report that. But if Parker comes home with a speeding ticket and I send him to the neighbor's house, and the neighbor breaks his arm, and I let it happen, I'm still a bad dad. Okay? Well, God allowed this to happen. No, truth of the matter is, you probably did something stupid, and you're in a bad place, and God is so good, he's going to work with your stupidity, and all things will work together. Really. Now, can we tie that to every disease? No, absolutely not. Where does disease come from? I don't have all the answers to that. I know this. He doesn't give you a disease to teach you a lesson. That's not a good God. That's not discipline. God's discipline is always to build you up for the working of things together. You with me? You with me? Have you ever noticed that we're to lay aside and to cast off and to not let the sin that clings so closely? Have you ever noticed that trying to do that in our life is a lot like holding a beach ball under the water? And you're just trying, and you keep trying, and you keep trying, and pretty soon it pops up. You're like, ah! I hate this. I'm quitting. I don't want his discipline. No. You want his discipline. Because it says that because of his discipline, you and I endure. Without his discipline, we won't endure. Worship team, if you'll come up. He says in the part of there, he says, for the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant. We're so strange. We only want to do things that are fun. That's not fun. I'm not doing it. I'm out. Pastor, I believe God's fun. I think he has a sense of humor. I love it when people say it to me. I think God has a sense of humor. Really? I think we can confirm God has a sense of humor. Have you looked in the mirror? And he calls you his follower. He calls me his follower. He's got a sense of humor. I think God's the creator of fun. I think he wants us to have fun. But I think he wants us to learn a discipline. It doesn't seem pleasant at the time. Hebrews 12:11 says this. It ends with this. For the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant. But later, watch this, later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness. You ever wondered why you don't have any peace in your life? Peace on all sides. Maybe you're not allowing yourself to be disciplined. For those that have been trained by it. Tracy and I are going through a difficult season in our life, and I'm not going to be cryptic about it. I'll tell you now in a few weeks. We're going to talk about it. The Lord's given me a good word. But we all have those times in our lives where we want to stop. We want to quit. We want to throw in the towel. We want to quit. We were pastors in Houston, Texas for a season. And the church, the first church we went on staff with, church about 12 or 1,400. There a short time, and it turned out that lead pastor was embezzling money and sexually assaulting women in his office. That came to an end. So we went on staff at another church down in Houston, church nearly 3,000 in attendance. We were there a short time. Well, that pastor failed morally. So I called my spiritual father, we were in Texas and he was in Oregon. I needed to get in touch with my spiritual father to find out how do I navigate this, only to find out that my spiritual father had left his wife and married the church secretary. On about a 6-month span. So I remember saying to Tracy, if those guys, if having a church of 3,000 doesn't keep you right, if being a pastor a lot of years and having spiritual children doesn't keep you right, I'm not man enough to do this job. I'm out. I can't, I'm done. I'm out. I'm not If those guys that I look up to and are mentors in my life have failed, I'm not going to do that to my wife. I'm not going to do that to my children. I'm not going to do that to a church. And if they fail, I'm out. I'm done. It was a very difficult time. So I get up the next morning, or a couple mornings later, and I'm praying. It was really one of those mornings of, God, like, I don't even want to talk to you right now. I don't know what's going on. I just know I want out. I don't even know what to read. I'm going to open this bad boy up and point. And what we got? And we got Luke 11:8. It says, the Spirit of the Lord has been given to you. Russ, this was never about you. This was never about you. And if you'll take what these men have done as a discipline, you'll never do that. You'll never do that. If you take it as a punishment, you've taken it wrong. If you take it as a discipline, you'll never do that. But I couldn't do that if I didn't fix my eyes on Jesus, the author, the perfecter of my faith. Will you stand with me? We're going to have the band take us through a song. I don't know where you're at in life. I don't know what challenges you're facing or what disciplines you might be trying to avoid. I do know that no matter where you are, you're not going to get through it alone. You need to be a part of a collective group. And you're not going to get through it without fixing your eyes on Jesus. Heaven forbid that halfway through yesterday's race, Alan would have looked at a different prize. Alan would have looked at a different finish line. Heaven forbid what might have happened. In this next song, can you make that commitment? Can you fix your eyes? Fix your eyes. Fix your eyes. Not on what was, but what you can be.